Hi, it's Andy.
Hi, it's Dave.
Hi, it's Kirk.
Welcome to the A.D.K channel, and today we are doing an EP review for the band Sentient, and the new EP is Sentient is Dead. Kirk, do you want to give us a little bit of background on the band and this EP?
Yes, Hertfordshire four-piece. When I first saw them, I would have put them in the gent progressive metal subgenre. Obviously, no artist wants to be pigeonholed. We've come to be friends with some of the members of this band. One of the best live bands on the scene, and the EP Sentient is Dead is released on Friday the 2nd of June.
Okay, I think we go around the houses as usual. We're not going to do it track by track unless there's any particular reason to do so, but Andy, your initial thoughts on this particular EP?
Yeah, I was very much looking forward to it. I think they've been sort of promoting it really well over the last few weeks and months. Sort of giving us little teasers and everything, and sort of updates as how the recording's going. I think it's been a long time in the making, from what I know. But yeah, I was really impressed with this, particularly the production value, the sort of instrumentation, the separation of the instruments, drums in particular. I thought were really good. We kind of touched on one track when we recently reviewed the new video for the track Lost.
Yeah.
Which you can see on the channel as well and get our thoughts on that. But yeah, I mean, I'm a really big fan of this band. I've been following them for a number of years. They had an album out and a couple of singles, of which I think have been sort of re-recorded or certainly sort of tweaked and included on this EP. But yeah, as Kirk said, they're almost quite difficult to pigeonhole and sort of put in a particular genre. They've got like complex sort of guitar riffing and some unusual time signatures. But yeah, most of the songs on this EP are sort of staples of the live set. There's sort of four songs really with an intro and an outro. The one that we sort of looked at, the video, is Lost, and as we discussed on that one, it's sort of a bit of a departure for the band. Something a bit different, a bit more experimental, with some clean vocal passages and just some very different sort of music coming from what you'd expect from this band. But the other songs, as I say, live favourites. I'm quite familiar with them. The first one was a single, Destroy, Build, was a single from last year. And what they've done is kind of separated that title, extended the intro and called it Destroy, which you probably don't. Yes, you're not a fan of this, Dave, are you? You probably prefer it to be, sort of kept as one long passage of music and a song.
Yeah.
But the second half, or the first song proper, sort of Rebuild is my favourite. Straight into the vocals. Midway through, there's probably about a 20-second passage where Joe Burton, the vocalist, is spitting forth the lyrics so fast, without a breath. And I've seen him do it live, and it's really impressive. And it's a really good EP. I was very impressed with it, and very pleased to be able to sort of get an early listen to it.
Okay. Okay, I'm going to go next, and then Kirk can kind of give his feedback on the end, and then we'll do obviously our usual scores on the doors. But so this was a weird one listening to it, because having seen Sentient now 6 times in the last 12 months, give or take. It got me thinking about one of two things. There are bands that are phenomenal live and okay on albums, and there are people that have amazing albums that just can't pull it off live. And then there are bands that can kind of mediocre at both, but are not amazing at both. For me, Sentient are one of those bands that are absolutely phenomenal live. You really feel it, that energy, that power that comes across. It's really hard to get that energy and that power from that live performance onto a record. They've given it a bloody good go on this. It hasn't quite happened for me. I didn't quite get that same level of excitement you get when you watch them live. But that's a good thing to make people want to go and watch them live. Production was very good on this. You were right, Andy. I didn't see the point in that first track at all. Destroy. Listen to it, and as soon as I was listening to it going, I've heard this, because I know that leads into the next song probably, because that's how they play it live. So I just don't see the point of separation. I'd have just rather they'd done it as a 5-track and then it decided if they wanted to split it on a live point. doing it so that you've got one extra song on the album makes no real sense to me. I'm sorry. But I'd love to know from their point of view, their reasoning behind why they decided to split that down. Maybe they just didn't want, maybe they realised with Rebuild that they just wanted to get straight into it and they didn't want people to have to wait to get there. Maybe that was their thought process. But with Rebuild and was it Phantom Limb, now this is a genre of music that is not really my big listening to. I don't listen to it a lot, but they felt far too similar to me. I just kind of got this thing where I listened to the first to Rebuild, then went into Phantom Limb, and I'm like, this just feels like a continuation of that song. That's the only thing. I didn't get much separation, which was why when we got to Lost, I actually appreciated Lost more than when I did in the video reaction. I liked that difference because it kind of broke it up. Then Gaslighter came out, which is the one we know is just a classic live. Really liked that track on the album. And then we've got the outro of Ashes, which was, again, a little bit of a departure from what they've done on the rest of the EP. It's a very solid EP for people into that sort of style of music. I don't know about yourself, but when I was listening to, was it Rebuild, JB's voice, there was something missing in the weight level of it. It was harsh, but it almost like sounded like he'd almost blown his voice out slightly when he was recording or something. There was something, maybe that was like the last song done on the EP. It just lost a little bit of the power compared to like listen to a couple of the other tracks on the EP. So I don't know if that something could happen there, but I was like, when I first listened to it, I was like, "Ooh, what's happened here? This doesn't sound like the JB that we see live." And then the next song kicks in, I went, "Oh no, that sounds fine." So it was just on that first track when I was listening to it. I don't know what it was, but it might have just been my ears adjusting to the EP. But yeah, really solid effort from the lads. Over to you, Kirk.
Yeah, I think it's important to put this band in context where they fit into the wider scene. So there's a triumvirate of bands in the Hertfordshire and wider area that are on a similar paradigm. So we've got Kodama, who are the godfathers of this in the scene. Great band, muscular, drop tune riffing, hardcore vocals, and really quite violent grooves to their music. Then we've got Sentient, who've now been on the scene for 4 years. Well-known, excellent live band. Definitely agree with what you said, Dave. This band are always going to find it difficult to capture the brutality of their live music on record, and they do a good job here. Just don't quite reach it, in my opinion. And then the third band is more of an up-and-coming band, Swarmed, who we saw a couple of weeks ago at Club 85 in Hitchin, Hertfordshire. So I'm pleased to say there are some good bands that are playing that progressive metal that's really aggressive. I would say out of the three of those bands, Sentient are the most indebted to Meshuggah. And you only have to look at the lexicon that they're using for the song titles. Destroy, Rebuild. The famous Meshuggah album from 1995 is called Destroy, Erase, Improve. And then you listen to the guitar tunings and listen to the sharp syncopated chug riffs. Definite Meshuggah influence, but there's not really, I didn't hear any strange time signatures, Andy, in this. I'm surprised that Ricky, who's one of the best drummers in the country, never mind in the scene, I'm surprised that he wasn't really attacking those polyrhythms, but it probably would have been too much of a cliche if they'd have done that. Now, I don't think they are reductive of Meshuggah. I just think they draw heavily from them on the song Rebuild. But I've got to say, Joe Burton, JB as we know him, great vocals on this song. It's one of those vocal performances that just makes your eyes bulge, like the first time when you hear Future Breed Machine by Meshuggah, for example. It's just sensational. Now, it actually reminds me of Hertfordshire's other great band who do this. They're obviously one notch above, and that's Vexed, who are signed to Napalm Records. They really re-energized that 8-string progressive deathcore genre with their debut album in 2021. That's the standard that Sentient need to be getting to, and they've got a second EP hopefully coming out, a part 2, at the end of the year. Now, I'm going to address the song Lost, which is a big risk on this album, and I admire them for that. And it does bring more, I would say, pastel colours to the timbre of the music. It's just too long, that song. And the other thing is as well, it reminds me a bit like a Titan, a Deity. The ideas are there, they're still in fruition rather than having come into fruition. And there's a lot more space in that song between the chords and those clean vocals. Unfortunately, JB, you are playing music in a genre with the best vocalists in the world. Spencer Sotelo, Periphery. Dan Tompkins, Tesseract. You look at Lucas Magyar and Veil of Maya. We're talking the highest standard. And your clean vocals, you need to be at that level if you're going to put them in the mix. Good effort, but as I said in our reaction video, a bit too atonal for me. But I do like the aggression of that chorus with the dual vocals. Phantom Limb, track number 3, classic live track. As soon as I heard that, I was just thinking, I know that was going to be the standout track. I've heard it 6 or 7 times live. Good to hear it on record. Again, with that, I think that the guitars are really sharp and there's some good, more mid-range patterns, scale patterns that he's playing. Same when you look at the song Gaslighter, which is the most famous track in the back catalogue to date. We all love watching that live. Even though it's anthemic, it only repeats the chorus twice. It's quite an unusual structure to that song. Some really good finger tapping patterns in that, and to be fair, in the intro to Lost. And then finally, Ashes, the outro song. It's a bit of a filler on the EP, isn't it? But I understand because it's a mood piece. And to me, very surprised that it's sentimental in tone. And I love JB's unashamed English accent in the spoken word passages of that song. This is a band, they're not trying to be like an American metalcore band. They're an English band. Yeah. They're influenced by music from all over the world. Love the guitar tone. Gotta say it one more time, Ricky as a drummer, how clear is his double kick pedal in the mix? His footwork is sensational on this. That must be so difficult to do live. And I've seen him do that so many times live. So precise. So to me, I would say I think my expectations were so high for this. And then I've obviously heard the new Veil of Maya album. And I just think it's not really getting there, to be honest. It's something that I would definitely listen to again and go back and study. And I'm looking forward to part 2. But it didn't quite capture the energy of their live performance.
Okay. So what we now need to do is do our scores on the door. So we have a 4-scoring system here. So we either have a bin it, a trade it, a stream it, or of course, highest rating, which is a buy it. So around the room, Andy, what's your scores on the doors?
I hope they do physical copies. I hope they do CDs. And if they do, I will certainly be buying a copy.
Okay. From me, it is a stream it. It's not something I'd listen to all the time, but it's definitely something that I would like to have in my Spotify or whatever streaming platform collection. Kirk, yourself?
Stream it for me. I've got high expectations for part 2 for this EP. We've got a lot of quite old songs on this, haven't they? Some of them they've re-recorded, so I'm looking forward to the second one, but I definitely listen to this again. I think they're a great band.
Okay, so there we go. So Sentient and Sentient is Dead gets a stream it from the A.D.K channel. So make sure you go head on over to your Spotify or your whatever streaming platform you're using and stream it. And if they do release it and you're really liking the streaming copy, go and buy a copy as well. That's it from us. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you on another video sometime very soon. Take care.